Hey everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey course creators, today let's talk about page numbers. Okay, so this is a small piece of your entire online program, but I want to talk about page numbers in your workbooks. Okay, so I was at a conference a couple weeks ago, and one of my favorite groups that I'm a part of, and they had a workbook for the first time for one of their live events, and it was awesome. I was like, yes, a workbook, that's so exciting. I love workbooks. I love when people can follow along, when they can do activities and take action and really start to apply, kind of what's being taught or what people are trying to share, right? So I love them. They're awesome. If you want a quick, easy way to enhance your program, add a workbook. However, one of the things that's super important is paying attention to the details. And so, we got this workbook. It was great. It's, 100 pages or something. So it was substantial. It felt substantial. And, we're going along and, one of the speakers says, yeah, so go to page, in the workbook, and you'll find this chart that I'm talking about. And everyone starts, looking through their workbook and page by page by page, and all of a sudden everybody sort of looks up and there's the blank stare, and somebody calls out, there are no page numbers. And so of course this guy was frustrated and embarrassed and was just like, oh, okay, yep. So they operate under the philosophy is 80%, right? So everything is about 80% dialed in. The 20%, which is the details and the polishing and the sense of having it be, completely put together, is that extra 20% that they just don't worry about, which is great. And I highly recommend that when you're launching your beta, when you're launching your MVP, right, your minimum viable product, that is awesome, right? Don't over engineer something that you're just testing with your audience, right? And so absolutely 100%, I agree with that. Everything's 80%. However, when you run your entire business off of an 80% completion, meaning 80%, you'd only focus on the 80%, not the kind of the final or finishing 20%. What starts to happen is your entire business becomes, it just sort of loses that professionalism. It loses that final thing. And, at the end of the day, at a certain point in your business's maturity, it looks like you just don't have your crap together, right? And you don't have the right team and you don't have the right professionalism. And, if you're always missing some of those pertinent details, what else are you missing about people's business, about solving people's problems, around your service, around the product that you sell, right? This just sort of becomes a perception that maybe you're flying by the seat of your pants, and the service or the solution that you're offering to your customers, your clients, isn't 100% correct or accurate, right? Which is a problem. I'm concerned if, like, you're a surgeon and you go in and you're doing brain surgery and you're like, yeah, well, you know what? I took care of 80%. The other 20%, like, I didn't really worry about that because I figured that, at the end of the day, those are just, that's just the frosting. That's just the icing on the cake. It's all good. Great. Well, okay. So what's the 20% of that brain surgery that is not getting dialed in correctly, right? So when you're learning or when you're in your beta, like, sure, test often and then tweak, test often and tweak. But here's the deal is when you get to a certain point in your business, if you're still operating at 80% for everything that you're doing, it's going to start snowballing, right? It's going to start adding up, and there's going to be some critical flaws that are going to happen in your execution, in your operations, in your ability to serve, that are going to start making a huge difference, like an exponential difference in the success of your business. So when you look at this incident with the page numbers, is it super important? No, but I would argue that if you are paying somebody to help you create a workbook, that is table stakes, right? Like, you have a header, you have page numbers, you have your copyright, you have you're a consistent branded experience. Those are table stakes if you're paying somebody else to do the work. If you're just putting it together on your own, fine. But when you're, again, at a certain level in your business, should you be doing that activity? Is it the highest use of your time? No. So you need to be paying somebody else to do that. And if they're forgetting something as basic as page numbers, that's an indication that there's some, in my opinion, that is a tell that your business isn't as dialed in. It's not operating optimally, where you can then grow and scale it, because there are things that are happening that are basics that aren't dialed in. So that's a whole different conversation, but it actually it's a symptom of something bigger that's happening in your business. So that to me tells me what's happening on the back end of their business. But again, different conversation. But when you're paying attention to the details, when you are dialing something in, look at those pieces. Slow down enough to look at those pieces. And if it's not your expertise, if it's not something that you are wanting to do, then hire it out. Have somebody else do it, so they remember the pieces, they remember the details, and then you get it dialed in. So it's not so much about the page numbers, but it's really looking at what point in time do you need to get out of the 80%, dial in that 20%. And most of the time, honestly, could be done with automation or, SOPs, right? Having standard operating procedures for your team, or just, hiring the right people, right? And so a lot of times when you're out of beta, when you're out of your MVP, it's time to start looking at those details. So because it does become important. For some people, it's important right away. For other people, it's like they give you the grace to know that it's not perfect, but at some point they want to see that those details are taken care of, and that they have the confidence that everything else that you're doing reflects that level of excellence, of attention to detail, and of moving things forward. So especially if you are an education company, you should have the basics down, and page numbers is absolutely one of the basics. So for those of you who have a workbook with no page numbers, go put your page numbers on it right now, and get those kind of minute details dialed in. It will make a huge difference in the confidence and experience of the people that you are serving. So what do page numbers have to do with it? They have everything to do with it, because you can see where somebody is in the evolution of their business. And so if you are first starting out, worry about the page numbers? Maybe not. The 80% is perfect. The next time you do it, add in those details, so you have the pieces that do allow you to use this as something that is sustainable, as something that you can use over and over and over again. Because at some point, you have to get to the point where you're not iterating and not just putting betas out there over and over and over and over again, right? Because otherwise your business isn't going to grow. People are going to see that perhaps there's not a sustainable business underneath all of the marketing and sales that you are doing, and look at it from that perspective. So there you go. That is my course building tip for today. look at the details, pay attention, do the 80%, but very quickly pivot into that 20 after you have delivered that very first MVP. Start to dial in that 20. Don't go back and create something new. Start dialing in that 20. The details matter. All right, there you go. Enjoy the day.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.